As regards spring barley, it's an extremely late year. Something we're already being asked a lot about, because we sell the main herbicides for spring barley, is what implications has a late and condensed season got for tank mixes and herbicide choice. There are new herbicides on the market this year, people are asking. What we're simply saying to people is, if a herbicide program worked last year, why would you change, especially if it's going to increase the cost? But if you did have a problem with last year's herbicide program, if there are specific problem weeds, maybe like we'll say poppies, for example, which there are a number of resistant poppies out there, changing from perhaps a tank mixer that might have been Galaxy last year with Cameo Max to maybe using Zypar with Cameo Max seems to make sense. On that same subject of spring barley, I think we're going to have to watch BYDV very, very closely at the start of the season, because late sown barley is always a higher risk. But we're looking at a scenario where an early BYDV spray may be too early for a herbicide, and now the herbicide might have to be tank mixed with the wild oat spray and with the fungicide, which in principle isn't a problem. But thinking of everything we've discussed on winter crops and stress, a lot of chemical on a crop can cause stress, and we need to be aware of that. You might be shot for saying it today, but the worst thing that can happen now is that it actually completely stops raining, which is a risk, and we get a dry month. Again, thinking tank mixes, this peculiar looking jar beside me, this is one of the best things that a sprayer operator not just should have, must have, in my opinion. We get asked an awful lot, because we sell so many products, can you tank mix A and B and C and D and E? The reality is that, as regards the chemical company's view, beyond probably a 4-way tank mix spray, we can't stand over it because they've gotten too big. But even if we tell you something tank mixes, we mean it physically tank mixes in the sprayer. We cannot replicate environmental conditions when we do a physical tank mix test to test for phytotoxicity reactions, so we simply can't guarantee that. The reason I tell everybody, any customer of mine or of Terrachem's, they should have this. This is a conical flask that was bought in Super Quinn about 4 years ago for about €4. As far as I know, it's supposed to be for making some sort of gravies or something. I don't know. That's what I use for what I tell farmers should be their jam jar tank mix test. And what I mean by that is, it's something that can be a jam jar once it has a lid. You put in some water. If you're putting in 5 products, put in a dollop of each product. It's not scientifically accurate. You put them into that, you shake it up. Tank mixes can go wrong in a number of ways. They turn to a cottagey cheese type effect. It goes lumpy. You see it instantly. It's a glass jar. It flocculates, which means everything falls out of suspension and sits in the bottom. You won't see that in a bucket, which is why a jar is brilliant. You can turn it up and see is there a heap of sludge in the bottom. The worst tank mix reaction is when it gets into sticky lumps, because a flocculated tank mix, you'll get it out of a sprayer fairly easy. Cottage cheese type effect, you'll get it out. If it goes sticky, you have a serious problem. The bottom line is, for people using sprayers, we as chemical advisors cannot possibly know all the tank mix permutations. As far as we're concerned, it's the farmer's responsibility, if he's going to put 7 or 8 products in a tank, have something as simple as this, or a jam jar with a lid. A bit of water, a bit of each chemical, do the test. A lot of people laugh at me when I say it. 4,000 litre sprayer with 70 acres worth of products in it. It's a lot of money. 3 minutes to do that. You tell me what's a wise investment.